Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us today for our press feed webinar, Working with the Media, How to Increase Your Earned Media Mentions. And this webinar is being done with the Society for New Communications Research. So thanks very much to SNCCA for collaborating with us and doing a joint venture today for this webinar. We really appreciate their support. I have been a member of SNCCA for many years now, and I am a senior fellow, a research fellow with the Society for New Communications Research. So I'm very happy to have any of the SNCCA members with us today. And if you are in fact not a member of SNCCA, I would encourage you to go to their website, sncr.org. So, and then you can find out all about SNCCA and what we do there and why it's a good thing for communication professionals to be a part of this really exciting group. So, welcome to all of you. And our guest has had a little situation. She's going to be a few minutes late. So I'm going to start, and Lindsay will join us as soon as she possibly can. So today, let me just go to full screen now that we have all this, and we're going. Okay. 1 second. There we go. All right. So what we're going to be talking about today is why it's so important for PR professionals and brands to really change the way we've been thinking. The media landscape has changed dramatically in the last 5 years. So many things are different. And from a media point of view, when Lindsay comes on the line, we'll chat with her from her viewpoint as a reporter of exactly what it's like from their side of the picture. But things have changed really amazingly for the media. The media are under a lot of pressure right now. So what is it that they want? If you just look at all the statistics, and they come out in different reports all the time. The most recent one was from the Pew State of the Media Report 2013, which was out maybe a month, 6 weeks ago. And we know that more and more people are getting their information and their news online. So that's where the media's main audience is today, is online. And as the bandwidth grows and it is possible to have more visuals, the public is demanding visuals. They want to see what is happening right away. They want visuals with all the stories. So this is what the media is looking for. You look at any media website, and bear in mind that practically every media outlet today now has a website. Whether they're a TV station, a radio station, a little weekly newspaper, whatever it is, a magazine, they all have very robust websites today. That means that all of them are in fact capable of running visual material. So every media outlet today is in fact a little TV station. They're all using video. And the reason that they're doing it is because the public responds to it. We are definitely in the age of a camera in everyone's pocket. A couple of years ago, when I would go to conferences and I wanted to cover all the speakers that were doing sessions, talk to people who were there, do interviews, I would have to take a whole bag full of things with me. And that was what was happening with the reporters too. when they were going out to get a story, they would have to have a laptop, they would have to have their cell phone with them, then they'd have to have a really good camera and a video camera and something to record on. Now you don't have to do that anymore. Everything is in one device just about. If you have a smartphone or an iPhone and you have an iPad, you're done. That's it. That's really all you need. So now that we have this and everybody is getting used to the idea that they can immediately take a picture of what's around them and they can post it and everybody else can see it, they totally expect to be able to see that from somebody else, and certainly from the media. So when they're looking for information about something that's happened in the news, they definitely want to be able to see what's going on. 1 second, I just see. Oh, I don't know why they say that my slides are not moving, and I just want to make sure that they are. Right, so let me just, okay, so that was the one about what the media wants. You should be able to see it. Okay. So we are definitely in the age of the camera in everyone's pocket. And everyone has this idea that if I can just snap a picture and post it on Instagram or Facebook right now, the media absolutely should be able to do that. So this is what we're in, a big explosion of images. Forbes referred to this explosion of visual content as the breakout trend of 2012. Excuse me. And they said it's only going to grow in the years to come. And that makes total sense. Pinterest is now the third most popular social network. Facebook just recently did a complete overhaul of their timeline and their design based on the fact that so many people are posting and sharing photographs. And they just paid $1 billion for Instagram. So they're very invested in the idea that people are posting images, they respond to images, they share them, they comment on them way more than just text. So this is the reason why it's very, very important for you to make sure that you have visuals with all your news content, because this is what the media is looking for. And bear in mind, hang on, I can't get it to move now, 1 second. There we go. So here are some of the stats on how images affect articles. These are the top categories where images are boosting performance. News, yay, that's us. Political content, and sports. So sports might be something that you're involved in, but for every single company, we're all involved in putting out news about our organization. Analytics has shown very, very clearly that if you add an image to an article, it boosts the content's page views. And this, of course, is the reason why the media is so interested in all these images and infographics and video, because they want people to come to their site, they want people to spend longer, they want to be able to say that they are delivering a news experience that their readers and viewers enjoy, and so they keep coming back. And they've definitely seen that when they have lots of visuals, that's what happens. So articles containing relevant images, okay, this is very important. Not just any old image. It has to be a very relevant image. It must be a good image. It should be an original image that Google hasn't seen before, because otherwise Google doesn't like to index it. And it needs to be something that adds to the story. so that if you just read the text part of an article and then the picture that goes with it does nothing to add to that, it's like, nah, it's a picture. Okay, that was nice. But if you can find something that actually extends and enhances the story, so that when I read it and I look at the picture, I go, oh, I get it. That's awesome. It adds something for me. It extends the whole experience. This is what they're looking for. Even on press releases. This is a study from PR Newswire that was done on thousands and thousands of press releases crossing their wire service. So it's only on one wire service, but at PressFeed we have also done this across all the wire services, and the numbers hold true. So starting on the left-hand side at the bottom is a text-only press release. Add a photograph, you're going to get 1.8 times more views. Text and video, 4.3 times more views. Text and photo and video, 7.4 times. Now if you do the whole thing, add everything you have, a photo, a video, an infographic, a downloadable file, a report, whatever you have, you're going to get 9.7 times more views. So that's a lot. That's like 1,000% more views. So when you look at that, and I say to you, if you understand that this is what the media really is interested in, this is the one thing that they most want, that gets them the result they're after, which is more readers, more viewers, more people on the site, longer time on site. It's what they're after. I've spoken to many, many editors, and quite a few of them, I mean a big percentage of them, have said it is now policy that every single story must have a visual attached to it. If you come to me with a story that's just text, it has no visuals, no audio, no video, no nothing, it's unlikely that we're going to print it. So go and take a look at how you are presenting your news to the media. If you're still sending out text only with no visuals at all, and you have a newsroom that is pretty much text only, no visuals in it, no way for them to get those visuals, you have to realize that you are really making it very, very difficult for your company to play the media relations game right now. Our job as PR people is to work with the media. We have to give them content that they would find newsworthy. If we want coverage for our company, then we've got to provide the media with what they need and want. They're not there for us. They're not sitting in their newsrooms going, gee, I wonder what I could do for a PR person today. Where's a brand that I could just print something for them? This is not the game at all. We have to make sure that what we're putting out appeals to them and their readers. So when you understand what's happened in the media, why they're in the situation that they're in, the Pew State of the Media report says that they're down, the numbers are down to the lowest they've ever been since the 1970s. So we don't have those beat reporters who've been there for 20 years and know their beat inside and out. We don't have that anymore. It's a very big opportunity for us because it opens the door to outside content. But they want outside content in a very specific format. So we have to provide it in that format because otherwise we're not going to get what we're after. And then this is video view rate on mobile. So in PCs, you can see the difference. You see, there's still more of them are watching it on laptops and desktops, but the tablet is catching up a lot. Phone still not that much. This is from the last quarter of 2012, but look at it from a year ago, from the last quarter of 2011. Even on phones it's doubled. More than. It's like 3 times on tablets and about 50% on PCs. But you see which one is growing the most is tablets. So the whole landscape is changing of where people find their information and what they're willing to look at, what they want to look at. One of the things that should be on your game plan for this year is to train your PR and marketing team in how to do this. Because this is not something that has traditionally been part of the public relations and communications skill set. It's been much more a marketing and advertising graphic designer kind of skill set. However, the changing technology has made this very easy to do. You can produce images with your phone on an iPad. There are hundreds of apps that you can use. And they're quick and easy to download. They're not expensive. They're easy to learn. And you can produce the most amazing images very quickly. Infographics are getting still a lot of response. And it just makes sense because when there's a tremendous amount of data about anything, financial data, statistics, whatever it is, if there's a lot of data and you present it in text, it's quite hard to grasp it. And if you're going to read all of it, about halfway through you go, oh God, this is so boring. But if it's in an infographic and it's visual, we have become very, very visual people. And it helps if you can present all those stats and graphs and financial data and whatever it is, the research that you've done, if you can present it visually, people love it. The media in particular really likes infographics. They tend to pick them up. Bloggers pick them up. People post them on Facebook. They tweet them. They share them. And there are tools that you can actually use to make infographics yourself now. It's not that hard. Video used to be a major performance. A big investment in the equipment, learning curve like crazy. You needed a big team, so it was lots of money and expense. You needed a cameraman, someone to write the script, a lighting guy, a sound guy, an editor, a director. You had to pay all those people, and then you had to still get the thing together, and then when it was finished, you had to either put it on a tape and messenger it down to the TV station, or Lord knows, put it on a satellite link that cost another 20 grand. Those days are all gone. For under $1,000, you can have everything you need with the top-of-the-line camera and lenses. You don't even have to do that. You can do it on your phone. You can get an external microphone that will plug into your iPad or your iPhone. You can buy really good cameras that do HD video for less than $1,000. You can learn to edit on things like iMovie on the iPad, boom, just like that. We just did a training out in Texas last week where we trained a team of 17 to write a press release about an event that they'd already done it, but like we just did it as an exercise. Okay, rewrite this whole press release, tell the story visually, go and take the pictures, edit the pictures, optimize them all for search, make a video. They made it on the iPad, they edited it on the iPad, and in, let's say, 3-4 hours, the whole thing was done, ready, packaged to go. All done. And with no more than they actually already had. So it's quite possible to learn to do this. And then, of course, you have to make sure that they all get found. Video absolutely increases the engagement, and this is another reason why the media is so focused on wanting video, because people get much more engaged when there's a video. Just bearing in mind again, as I said earlier, it can't just be a talking head saying the same thing that was in the press release. That's a lazy approach. Always think about telling the story visually first. We're used to writing the press release and then thinking, oh, what could what picture could I put with this? Try and turn it around. Start thinking first about telling the story visually. Figure out what could you really show in the video that would show more of the story, and then write the press release. Users are more than twice as likely to comment and share. This is from a study from Adobe. So here are some of the stats about what's been happening in the newsrooms. And this is from the Pew State of the Media report. So the industry is down 30% since 2000. A third of all the journalists that were writing in newsrooms around this country are gone. That's a lot of stories, because there's another statistic that says every journalist on average writes about 10 stories a month. So you take all those people and you'll see that that's a lot of stories that have just disappeared. So we're down below 40,000 full-time professional employees in the media business for the first time since 1978. So the newsrooms definitely are short of resources. This statement is in the report, The Pew State of the Media. The news industry is undermanned and unprepared to uncover stories, dig deep, or to question the information that gets put into its hands. That's a bad situation for the media, but boy, oh boy, is it a wonderful opportunity for us, because they are now open to working with outside content providers. I have spoken to many journalists and bloggers, and there have also been research studies that have been done that say that they rely more on outside content now than ever before. And that totally makes sense, because they just don't have the resources to do it. Many newspapers no longer have a health editor. They don't have a travel editor. They don't have a science editor. So those are areas where you can work with your local media and see if you can provide stories. It's going to have to be, of course, a genuine news story. It can't just be about your company, unless there's some larger story there. But if you look at things like Kaiser Health News. Hold on a second, I'm hearing noise from somebody.
Where are you going?
Who's unmuted? Wow. That's quite strange. I see everybody is muted, so I don't know who's making the noise. Let's just try that. All right. Can you still hear me? Good. I think we handled the problem. Okay. All right. So the way to do this is to see if you can find an area where you can collaborate with the media. One of the ways to do this might be to look on Muckrack. If you're not, if you don't have a membership at Muckrack, it's something I would really advise you to do. muckrack.com, and they will tell you what the journalists are working on. You can find out where the journalists are in terms of where do they hang out on Twitter and Facebook. So you actually can discover where they are. And you can then follow them on Twitter. And you can start to see what is, you can follow them, see what they're working on, start relationships with them. You can also provide experts. Provide research and visuals. This is something that we know that they have trouble with because they don't have those resources anymore. And that is an area where if you could help them while they're writing a story to say, well, here's an expert within our company that could speak to that. Or if you partner with some other outside research organization, university, nonprofit, who is an expert in your industry, and then you can provide access to that expert, but you still are part of the story. That's the kind of thing you should be thinking about. One of the stories that came in this last week in the time of the Boston Marathon that I thought was particularly interesting and well done. When there's an enormous breaking news story of this magnitude, I'm sure, as you saw, the media was reporting on it pretty much 24/7. They can't keep saying the same thing over and over and over again. They have to look for other stories that are related to this big story. And one of the other stories that they were talking about was tourniquets. And the Red Cross got a lot of coverage on talking about how they were used, what's the right way to use them, what's the wrong way to use them, how does it save lives, how does the fact that people were trained in Iraq and Afghanistan, how did that relate to it? But that's just like a story that was related to a very big news story, but it got the organization a lot of coverage. Here's another one that was done in California. This was with the National Public Broadcasting TV station up in the Sacramento area. Stanford University and the Science Institute for Climate, they all collaborated on producing this incredible visual story about the San Joaquin Delta. And it was all this visual material was produced outside of the TV station. And it was all used, you can see here, you know, it says the San Francisco Estuary Institute, the Aquatic Science Center, Stanford University, they were all mentioned. But they worked together with the TV station to produce this marvelous piece of visual material and a very in-depth story about what's happening to the San Joaquin Delta. Now, the TV station would never have been able to do a story of this depth and magnitude without the collaboration of the outside entities and the experts that they brought to the story. As I mentioned earlier, we have Kaiser Health News. They started in this very early on. They kind of beat a lot of people to this idea of branded content. They have deep pockets, admittedly, and they can afford to do what they're doing. They've hired very, very good journalists. Of course, with all these layoffs, there are a lot of journalists around who are looking for work. So that's another thing that is an opportunity for a brand. You may be able to hire a really, really good journalist to write branded content that you can then share with the media. Kaiser's not the only one who's doing this. Swedish hospitals up near Seattle, they also have started a science and health news service, and they're sharing it with the media nationally. It's really working very well. So this was an article that was in the New York Times not that long ago, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago. I was just commenting on the fact that many online websites and media sites are actually doing sponsored or branded content. If you look at the Open Forum, that is sponsored by American Express, but it's not like in your face American Express, but pretty much everyone knows that it is sponsored by American Express. These things have a lot of different names. They're called branded content, sponsored content, and the newest one is called native advertising. All it really means is that you're providing the content. Everybody knows that it comes from you. It is branded as your content, but it's not an advertorial. It's not necessarily about you. It's genuine editorial content that's being produced that still is relevant to your industry and builds your brand. So that's another way. A lot of these online sites are desperately looking for content. There is nothing more that has a bigger appetite for content than a website. They need content all the time, every minute of every day. They are desperate for content. So if you can provide a really, really good series that fills their need, they're all open to these kinds of arrangements where it's going to be branded content. This is a bit like the old sponsored radio show, or even the soaps, that they came about because they were all sponsored by soap companies. There wasn't much inside the content that was anything to do with who sponsored it, but we knew that that's where it came from. So once you've got all your content, one of the things you really need to do in terms of presenting this and making it available to the media is you need to improve your newsroom, your online newsroom, because this is where the media people go, the journalists, the editors, the bloggers, and funnily enough, more recently, even the public. When the public sees some news or hears some news about a brand, they tend to go to the brand website and go looking for your newsroom because they know that's where the most recent content is going to be. So this comes from Edelman Digital, and it was posted a few months ago, and this is what they call the social creative newsroom. So in their vision, you should have lots of people contributing to your social creative newsroom. Your newsroom should be there to produce a continual stream of timely, relevant content, all optimized and available for sharing. So who's going to be contributing? Editors. So you should have an editorial calendar. You should be having brand and content strategy. You should have industry news, and the editors will be providing and putting input there. You should have community managers, all the people that are looking after your social community, and all that should be in there as well. Your blog should be showing up in your newsroom. Your Twitter feed should be showing up in your newsroom. You should be doing measurement and analytics of all this content. All the earned, owned, and paid media should all be showing up in your newsroom. And of course, all your creative producers, your writers, your graphic artists, whoever's doing this, making the visuals, the images, the infographics, all of that, and doing the optimization of the content. All of those people are responsible for putting material into your social and creative newsroom and presenting it in such a way that when a journalist or a blogger arrives in your newsroom, they don't go, oh my God, where do I find what I'm looking for? They should immediately exhale and go, oh, this is awesome. So simple, so visual, so lovely. Just what I needed. So here we have one. This is a social newsroom from Newport Beach. It's Newport Beach in California. And you can see on the top left they have connection to all their social accounts. They have feeds for all the different content buckets, categories. They have sharing immediately available. They have the main ones, Google, Facebook, Twitter, StumbleUpon, Pinterest, and then they also have a share this, and if you expand that, it'll give you every possible way you could share this, including email. The press contacts, which amazingly to me is still the #1 complaint from journalists and editors, that they get press releases that have no contact name on it. They go to a newsroom and there is nobody to contact. If you want the media to take your content and you would like them to cover your stories and talk about your brand, one would think that you would make yourself available so in case they had a question or they wanted to talk to someone else, that they would be able to get hold of you. And then they have images and videos, they have their tags, everything all available right away. So if your newsroom still looks like this, pretty much all text, no visuals, not even a tab anywhere that says images, videos, it's all just text. You have to realize that when the media comes here, this is not what they're looking for right now. Here's another one from an investment company on the East Coast. Again, you can see they've got their corporate news. They've got a specific bucket for financial literacy information, which is an area of education that they specialize in, and they have a lot of experts excuse me, who could speak to that subject. They also have one which is on retirement, which is another area of their expertise. Again, they've got the images and the videos, and they have the sharing. Now, if you have a good newsroom and it is set up correctly and you're putting all the content in so that when you write your content, it's all optimized for your brand name and for the other keywords that you'd like to show up for, you're going to find that it will give you excellent search results. So as you can see here for David Lerner, their site is number 1, which it should always be for their name, but their newsroom is number 2. Here's another one, not on the brand name, but on a generic keyword. This is for Pacific Outdoor Living here in California. And one of the keywords that they wanted to be found for is paving stone ideas. And you can see that when you search paving stone ideas in Google, their media room is number 1, not their website, not their homepage, their media room. And it shows you how effective it is because the number 2 listing, house.com, is a kind of a Pinterest for designers. It's a very, very robust site with a lot of people producing an absolute fortune of content, and yet Pacific Outdoor Living's media room still is at number 1. Oh, sorry, I wanted to show you. So when you click on that link, this is what you get. You get their media room and you get a whole page of articles about paving stone ideas. Whatever platform you use to upgrade and improve your newsroom, just make sure that when you have your images and your videos, there is a way to display the source code for the images and the videos, because this is something that journalists and bloggers have requested. It's very important to them. Bearing in mind, again, they're under pressure and they don't have a lot of time. So if they see an image in your newsroom that really appeals to them and they want to use it, let's say this infographic here about does it cost more to be a woman, they go, gee, that's interesting. I'd like to use that. And there's no source code or anything with it. They don't know how to take it. What are they going to do with it? Where are they going to get it? Are they going to have to call you and say, please email me this image? If you do it this way, you have it hosted somewhere online. This is on Flickr. There's the URL. Just go and take it. You don't have to call anybody. You don't have to find me. What if I'm not available? Just go take it. Same with the videos. Just put all the embed code right there. So when they come along, they see the video, they listen to the video, they say, oh, that's interesting. It is Financial Literacy Month. This is pretty interesting. I'd like to use that video. Boom, they take the embed code and they're done. So what are you going to do with all this content once you have it? First and foremost, put it in your newsroom, or just a news page if you don't have a proper newsroom, but put it on your website. Make sure that the page on which you put the image or the video is optimized for search. SEO stands for search engine optimization. So that the whole page is optimized around the keywords that you want that image or video to be found for. Then promote the story. Just the same as they have on Facebook that you can promote your stories. There are many other ways that you can do it as well. You pay, obviously you have earned, owned, and paid. This is the paid part. One of the services that I would recommend to you is called Deliverit, and that's the URL, dlve.it, Deliverit. They do promoted stories for $30 a story, and it goes to an amazing network of sites that they work with, like iVillage and big newspapers, and they do an absolutely marvelous job. And then you should put it on the wire. Even though journalists don't pay that much attention to the wire services, the public does, and bloggers do. And you can, if you find one that really has good visuals, allows you to put lots of visuals, that is showing us that it's getting more attention from the journalists. So I have one I'd like to recommend to you. These are the average service fees for the main news wires that most people work with, okay? And unless you're on an annual contract with them, if you're doing one-off press releases, they will charge you extra for going over 400 words, and they absolutely will charge you for your visuals. However, there is one that's called Newswire. It's not very well known because it was actually built for journalists by journalists, but it is available now for use by brands and PR people if you have an invitation to go to join. So, and they don't charge you for an amount of words, and they don't charge you for visuals, and you can add all kinds of things. You can add maps and slides and forms, and they charge $149.99 a month, and you can do 20 releases if you want to for that, or one. They don't care how many you do, but up to 20. So this is what their news releases look like. You get to put all your content on the left with one big image, and then on the right you can add all kinds of things. Here you can see these people added a sign-up form. So say you have something you want to download. You have a white paper. You can put the download form right there. This one is about interior design and window treatment, so they added 4 videos. This one is about vitamins. It's a local store. Excuse me, so they have a video, and they also have the Google map showing exactly where they are. And these show up extremely well in search. This is in news search, you can see. So here's some of the things that you could be doing. You have your newsroom, and then you post your material in your newsroom. You also post it out on the wire. And then wherever it gets picked up, that will link back to you. The press releases will link back to you. You should be tweeting your press releases and putting them in Facebook and LinkedIn, and making Pinterest boards for all your press releases. If you have video, obviously they're going to be on YouTube. Your blog post should be referencing your press release or your video. And then hopefully those will get retweeted and shared and liked and commented on. And all of this is driving more and more attention to your newsroom. And your newsroom should have Google Analytics or some other analytics program connected to it, so that you can see where your traffic is coming from, how much traffic is coming, what's happening with your newsroom. And you should promote the fact that you have the newsroom and that you have feeds on all your different content categories, and make your wish list of bloggers and journalists, and then let them know. Every month, send them something saying, we have this newsroom, please come and have a look. We have feeds, you can subscribe to the feeds, And we've seen a lot of success with that. So this, if you want to use the Newswire, this is where you go to sign up. It's newswirehelp.net/new_member. That gap over there between new and member actually is an underscore. It's _new member. newswirehelp.net/_new member. So that's all that I have to say today about working with the media. And if you have any questions, we have about 10 minutes. I'm sorry that Lindsay, for some reason, just never got on. Let's see where she is. She says, I'm on my cell listening. I don't have a headset, but I don't hear her. Unfortunately, wow. I don't know why she didn't actually get on. That's a shame. But if anybody else has more questions, please just post them in the question box, and I can answer. I can ask them of Lindsay too, and she can answer by the chat. Let me see if I can find her. Maybe I can unmute her. 1 second. Let me see if I can locate her. Lindsay, she must be here somewhere. Huh. Now I'm not even seeing her on my list of people, so I can't unmute her. That's very strange. I guess because she didn't log on to the computer. She just called in. Okay. Well, let's just see if there are any other questions from you guys. Where's my questions? There we go. Questions. Wait. I never see these things. Okay, I'm not finding it in Google search. No, I did give you the link. Let me just give it to you again. There it is. newswirehelp.net/new_member. That's where you would go. I will be sending the slides to Gina, and then she can post them on the Snicker site. I will post them on SlideShare, and I will send you all an email as soon as they're up. It is being recorded, and in about a week, the recorded video will also be in the Pressfeed newsroom, and we'll send you a link to that as well. Okay, that should answer Lee's question. Yes, there will be a recorded version. And I can add the links in the SlideShare. Okay. Okay, let's see what else there is. All right, I will check on this Newswire, but as far as when I looked at it last, there was a way to sign up. It's $149 a month. But I will check with them if there's a problem with it, and I will email all of you if I will find this. All right, so that's all the questions that I have so far. I'm sorry that we didn't get to talk to Lindsay, and we'll have to just make another time to do a webinar with her when she can actually get on and talk to us. So I do apologize for that. Thanks very much for joining us today. I appreciate your time. And that's the end of today's webinar. We'll see you next month.